Hey guys, you're watching Metal Obsession and you are here with Ice from Electrik Dynamite.
Recently you played a couple of shows in Sydney and Melbourne with the Black Veil Brides, shortly before Soundwave. How did they go?
Shows with Black Veil was sick. The guys were cool, the crew was cool, and the opportunity to play as part of the Soundwave Touring Festival, whether it be a sidewave or the festival itself, was fantastic. The shows were close to sold out. I think Sydney might have even been sold out. The kids in Sydney were insane.
So were the whole band, all of Electrik Dynamite, fans of Black Veil Brides beforehand? Because I know you all draw different influences.
Yeah, there's only a couple of us that were fans of Black Veil, like Maverick, our singer, and myself. The other guys, it's not really like, the modernised classic rock, metal influences, it's not really their cup of tea. They're, more genuine old school fans. But that being said, once they saw them live and saw what they were about, they were like, this kicks ass, so that was good.
I'm presuming that after your gig with them in Melbourne, you hit up Soundwave the next day?
Yeah, we did. Well, we all had Soundwave tickets to see Steel Panther, of course. So
front row here.
Yeah, I bet you were. I actually went out with went to Steel Panther at the Palace on the Wednesday night. Like, we flew to Sydney, played the Sydney show for Black Veil on the Tuesday night. We went to the Steel Panther side show the Wednesday night, played the Thursday night Melbourne show, and then went to Soundwave on the Friday. So it was a big week.
So who did you see at Soundwave?
I saw a lot of old new metal bands that I grew up listening to. I went and saw Cold Chamber, Stained. I also obviously saw The Biscuit. I saw Steel Panther. One of my highlights though was Holy Grail. I made sure I got there early to see them, and that was so good.
I was going to see them, but I just wanted front row for Steel Panther. I'm kicking myself a bit.
Dude, no, Holy Grail, I'm sure we'll come back again, but yeah, either way, that was sick, so make sure you catch them next time they're in town.
Yeah, of course I will. They're a good band.
Yeah.
It's been just over a year now since you recorded your debut album, Hair.Denim.Sex.Metal. Have you been working on any new material lately?
Yeah, actually, we're a couple of songs in. What we into the next album, what we figured we'd do is start writing early, because the last album, like Hair.Denim.Sex.Metal, was really rushed. Like we got Flex and Circus in the band, went on tour with Iada's Murder for the album tour, and 4 months later we were ready to record the album. So this time we thought, look, we'll get into it early, we'll start writing early, we'll write 20, 25 songs, and then when we go to record later this year, we can cut it back to, 12 songs to do a much stronger album overall.
So you're going to use a couple of the old songs?
No, everything will be brand new. I think just from the way the songs are going, we're going to continue doing what we do. We'll have, stinger style of drumming, we'll have big harmonies, big melodies, but we're really going to work on vocal production even more. More dictation, clearer vocals, really push the vocal performance and make that an even bigger element. It's already one of our strong points, but make it even bigger.
So not only has it been a while since you recorded Hair.Denim.Sex.Metal, you haven't done a tour in a while as well. You haven't played many shows lately.
Yeah.
Do you plan on getting a tour happening soon?
Yeah, well that's the thing. Like, we figured we finished all of late last year touring and playing. This year we started off with only a few shows. In doing so, we could start writing, and that way when we plan to tour mid-year, we've got a tour in the works that's going to be pretty rad, so once we can announce that and so forth, it'll explain why we've taken the time off now.
It was when Flex and Circus joined the band that you got rid of the core side of Electrik Dynamite when it comes to guitar work and such. Was it their choice for the change, or was this originally the band's decision before they joined?
Well, it was actually on its way. When we had Merlin and Jester in the band, we were already phasing out all the core elements. Like, that really came from where we started as a band, not what we wanted to do. It's funny how it works like that. You know, there's bands like Avenged Sevenfold and even Black Veil Brides that, you know, follow similar routes, where when they started there was a lot more, you know, the punk hardcore influences in their music, and then they just naturally evolve, you know, as the musicians get better, as they mature, etc, etc. And we were in the same boat. Like when we started, we wanted that core element. It's just what naturally happened, but then as we, you know, grew up and matured with what we wanted to do, we phased that element out.
From what I know, 2/3 of Electrik Dynamite have other musical projects. How about you and Ryan? Do you two ever work on music with other people?
Well, Ryan's really busy with tattooing. Like he's a full-time tattooist as well. You can check out all his work at Vic Market Tattoos. But myself, I'm actually doing like a side project in the works with one of my best mates. It's like a more of a like Bronxy, Every Time I Die, Maylene kind of dirty southern rock and roll. Chance to pretty much get on stage and get really drunk and play some rock and roll.
Is this guy in another band?
Yeah, he used to play guitar in Assemble the Empire, but he chose to leave that band to do a variety of projects, and one of them being this. We just haven't really, he's been writing, but we haven't really put it together and jammed on it yet.
Since you're the only person who could make it to this interview, I'll have to ask you, do you know the current state of your other band members' side projects?
Yeah.
Such as Cam's band Metal Storm and Lockie's band Amadu?
Yeah, well basically Cam and Lockie both, when they're not writing, they're drinking, and then when they're not drinking, they're writing. So pretty much when we wrapped up writing for Electrik Dynamite, you know, Cam had to start writing, you know, for something else. One of his big passions is thrash, like real thrash, like ball tearing, in your face thrash metal. So he pretty much started putting together what was pretty much going to be a solo project, but the songs were just too good. So, you know, he got his mates in that were all into the same genre and put together the lineup of Metal Storm. They're rehearsing at the moment, and they'll be, I'm pretty sure, ready to play just after mid-year. As for Amadou, Lockie's just wrapping up the final stages of releasing another album for them. Their drummer, I believe, is interstate for an extended period of time, so they won't be playing any shows soon. But his plan is still to get it out because, you know, the music's too good just to let it sit, you know, sit doing nothing.
I've always found it pretty interesting how you've always been a more 80s influenced band, but you built your fan base through the hardcore and death metal live scene. Do you think it did well reminding people how great the earlier generation of metal is?
To be honest, man, that just came from the people in the band. I mean, I have strong connections with a lot of death metal and hardcore bands, and through the scene with my day job, and through the bands I used to, you know, work with, whether it be merchandising or tour managing or whatever. So, you know, we pretty much all came together, and, you know, that scene was the middle ground for us all. But, you know, with our plans for over the next year or so, you know, we definitely want to branch out and play more rock shows and more classic metal shows. But in doing so, you know, a lot of death metal kids, a lot of death metal to this day is still influenced by a lot of the guitar work from the 80s and so forth. So, you know, those kids still have something they can get into and get excited about.
Do you ever plan on re-releasing your EP, Electrify Tonight, or re-recording a track or two off of it?
No. We were in talks with New Justice Records, who put out Hair.Denim.Sex.Metal. We were in talks of doing a really limited re-release, because when we released that, it was so limited. A lot of fans now, you know, had no chance of getting it. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the next release. Maybe we can release the next album and include it as a free. You know, that'll be sick, you know, a chance to give it away to people that had no chance to see us in the past.
What do you think of Metal Obsession?
Metal Obsession is fantastic. Any chance that, you know, people have to see a medium that has some of the best metal in the world, you know, how can you say anything bad about that, you know? And the ability to check out bands and, you know, see things that you would never have the chance to see before is fantastic. I mean, when I grew up, you know, the internet presence wasn't really big, So for me to find out, you know, who the cool bands in metal, you know, I had to literally go to record stores all the time. You know, we're in here today at a Melbourne metal shop called Smoke Dreams, and they have a fantastic range of merchandise and so forth. You know, when I was younger, you come to places like this to just see CDs to find out bands, but now, you know, you can check rad sites like Metal Obsession and find out that way.
So, like, back in the day when you were trying to find out bands, how did you decide what bands you wanted to listen to, like, if you've never heard them before?
Dude, I've always known, like, if I like a band, I like it. There's no ifs or buts about it, you know. There's a lot of people that warm to bands and so forth, but generally my first instincts are right with me. So, you know, as a musician and a music listener, it was sorry about that, my phone's ringing. As a music listener and a musician, I always knew what connected with me.
What was that question again? Yeah, if you could be any band from back in the day, like back in the 80s, who would it be?
Any band? I mean, that's a pretty big question, because I mean, you know, you could go for the party debaucherous side, like, you know, a Motley Crue, or you could go, you know, the slaying any chick in the world side to, you know, Van Halen and David Lee Roth, or, you know, you could go the massive production of a band like Iron Maiden and be probably, you know, the best metal band in the history. Man, like, honestly, where do you begin? These bands are timeless, and they're timeless for a reason. They're the best at what they've done, and they will be forever the best at what they do.
Anything else you'd like to say?
I really don't appreciate interviews at noon on a Sunday. No, this has been rough, but thanks, Paddy. You know, you're a champion. You know, it's people like you that keep, you know, Melbourne metal alive, and, you know, it's a pleasure and honour being here doing this interview with you. And shout out to, you know, all the fans of Electrik Dynamite. Check out local music and keep the scene alive, guys. Thank you.